Page 47, what can I share? At the top of the page, they're introducing a new symbol or a marking, a musical marking you're going to see a lot in music. Unfortunately, this particular marking, it's a curved line, is used for several different things. And trying to figure out which different things it's used for can be... They talk a little bit about it on page 46. I prefer to cover it in the lessons in the music when we get to it, so I'll talk about it in the music. And this is what I call part of articulation. Now, I have a process when I start learning a piece of music. I do things in a particular set of steps, particular order. You can do them in any order you want. This is my order. And articulation is one of them. We haven't been doing it in the past because they didn't introduce any symbols for it yet. This is the first one, so now we have to add that. All right. So let's take a look at what I can share or some such thing. 3/4 time, treble and bass clef. You see it's 4 lines long. It's the whole page. There's no repeat sign or nothing. We're just going to play it once. We got quarter notes and dotted half notes. I think we can handle that okay. Hopefully. I'm going to take it one hand at a time and make sure I got the fingering and the notes and all that worked out. Starting with the right hand. In the second measure, when the right hand comes in, it comes in with a C chord. We've had C chords before. I encourage you to just think about it as one thing, and all 3 notes go down as you lower the hand down. But don't think about it as 3 separate notes. Think about it as one chord, one thing, and just here. So it's 1, 2, 3, and the next measure is the G7 chord, is here. Just thumb comes down. C chord. So again, the first line with the counting. Second measure, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the first 2 lines actually. Then in the third line, the right hand gets the melody. Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember the dotted half notes, the same as 3 quarter notes. It gets 3 counts in 3/4 time. The last line and the last 2 measures, that C, that's tied. You see that curved line? This is another thing the curved line is used for. It's the same symbol used for different things. So the curved line under the C's, connecting them, that's a tie. You hold the C down, the first one down, for 6 counts. The whole thing, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The curved line above it, that's part of the articulation. I'll come back to that. Left hand, starting here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you can get that okay. Let's go down to the third line. With the chords, C chord, 1, 2, and the G7 chord, the little finger comes down. And I encourage you to get where you can do this without looking at the keyboard. You want to feel this going up and down one key. Put the hands together here. 1, 2, 3. So you go through and put the hands together. And the last 2 measures, you're here. Remember that C is tied. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And when you can play it okay with the hands together, and you get rid of the hesitations, so it's a nice steady beat. Doesn't matter how fast you go at this point, but it needs to be a steady beat. And then we'll go in and we add the articulation. That's how you're playing. There are different ways of playing notes. I'll cover it in detail when we get to it. Here, this big long slur line means legato or connect the notes. There's no silence between the notes. I'm connecting them. Now with the chords, they don't give you anything there. It doesn't matter because you can't connect repeated notes. There's always a little silence between them. And with chords, you can't connect chords. You gotta lift up. Repeated notes. But this you can. At the end of the line, when the curved line ends, I'm going to lift up just a real slight lift up before I go to the next line. it kind of helps in a way here because you're playing the same notes you have to lift up anyway. You're ending the first line here, you're starting the second line here on the same note, but it's like taking a breath. Just a little bit of silence in. And that's the legato playing, or they're calling it slurs and legato playing. We're just going to leave it with slurs. I mean, there's more to it than this, but I don't want to get too much into it. I'll cover it more as we get in. The idea here is go ahead and connect all the notes that line covers. Connect them. Don't tie them. Don't hold them down extra. You hold them down just as long as they're supposed to be held down, but you connect them. And it's only to that staff. Every staff is independent here, so if the other staff, they wanted you to connect them, they'd have to put slurs on that one too. They're not going to do it on chords probably because you can't connect them. That's all. When you get to the end of the second line, you're here. You go to the third line, you're here. It's a new slur. You can, it is possible to connect that. I can connect those two notes. The point is I don't want to, because I'm ending a slur here in the second line. I'm starting a new slur on the third line. I want a little silence between them, so I'm going to lift up here just a little bit early before I play that. You know, it's like taking a breath. So the last measure of the second line going on here, like so. Now, once you have an idea of the articulation and it's going okay, you can do the slurs okay, then I add the dynamics. Medium loud, and that's to the melody. Whatever you think moderately loud is. Mezzo forte. It's not loud, it's just sort of loud. Everything else has to be in the background. These chords need to be soft. When you get down to the third line, now it's P for piano, or soft melody. The chords have to be super duper soft in the background. Like so. And then at the end, the last two measures, they put in a slower. Well, I suggest what you do is you just slow down. You don't go slower, you just slow down. Here, your beat 1, 2, 3, you're just like a train coming to a stop. 1, 2, 3, you just start slowing the beat down. So it's the last 2, 3 measures here. It's here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like so. That's okay. There's a musical term for that, but they'll introduce that later. You got enough to deal with right now. So you go through and try and get all that going. Then lastly would be the speed. Because right now I'm probably kept it really, really slow. However slow I got to keep it to keep a steady beat and still do everything. But now I think about how fast do they want it to go. Well, they say moderately slow. That comes in handy because that's what I've been doing anyway. So I don't have to really do anything on the speed here, the tempo. I'm already doing it that's fine. Just not slow, moderately slow, whatever you think that is. When you have it sort of where you can play it and you're not hesitating or anything, then come back to the video and let's play it together. On the Play With Me section, I'll give us 3 counts, and let's just make sure you're playing the same note I'm playing at the same time. I'm not going to do any dynamics, and I'm going to play both hands about the same loudness. So I'll give us 3 counts. Let's try it together slowly. 1, ready, go.